Okay, so hey guys, and today I'm back with the Star Wars movie review, and this time at Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. So let's begin the review. Okay, so first let's talk about the opening of this movie. The Wampa scene was pretty nice and intense, but I wish it went on for a little longer. I mean, defeating the Wampa was just so easy for Luke, even though it seemed like such a big and strong monster, so it kind of felt underwhelming. The Hoth battle itself was nice too, but a huge downgrade from the Death Star assault in The New Hope. That doesn't mean it's not entertaining though, because oh yes, it is very entertaining, just like the rest of this movie, and also has some intense moments near the end of the battle, which is always nice. Okay, so now let's talk about Yoda. At first, I feared that the original trilogy Yoda was going to be a major downgrade from prequel trilogy Yoda, because he wasn't really acting like that wise old Jedi master at first, but then I got really impressed by the original trilogy version of him when he revealed that he was just testing Luke's patience, and that's why he was acting like a complete weirdo. The cave scene is also great, and it was really surprising and interesting how when Luke defeated Vader's hallucination or something, the helmet burst open only to reveal Luke's own face. This either tells that the light side Luke is going to defeat the dark side Luke, since the one in the Vader suit was the dark side version of Luke, which he ultimately does in Return of the Jedi by resisting the dark side. Or maybe it was just foreshadowing that Luke would turn to the dark side, or at least be tempted by it a lot, because I think originally Luke was supposed to turn to the dark side in Return of the Jedi. Yoda lifting up Luke's spaceship was also an amazing scene, but to be honest, I like the music playing in the background during the scene more than Yoda lifting up the spaceship. The music really elevated the scene to a whole new level. Okay, so Darth Vader has been upgraded so much in this movie, and I absolutely love that. The force choke scenes in here are much more terrifying than the one in New Hope, and Darth Vader in general appears to be way more intimidating. We get introduced to the Emperor for the first time in the original trilogy too, via a hologram, and this reintroduction of Palpatine was absolutely awesome for me. I had missed him so much in A New Hope, so it was amazing to see him be back. I like how Darth Vader summons some bounty hunters this time to help him, since even he knows that stormtroopers are absolutely worthless. Okay, so now let's talk about my favorite planet or city or whatever Cloud City is in the original trilogy. The reason Cloud City is my favorite planet or city in the original trilogy is because first of all, it really reminds me of the prequel era planets, which were absolutely fascinating, and second of all, some awesome stuff goes down here. Yeah, this movie just turns so good when they reach Cloud City, and this is when I realized why this film is so appreciated and loved, because it deserved it. Lando betraying Han and the others was such a surprise, but what was even more of a surprise was how Lando went back to the good side once again and helped Leia and the others later on, when it was already too late. Lando not being able to make up his mind about a deal gave us a lot of surprises, as it seems. The carbonized scene where Vader freezes Han alive is a truly sad scene, but it's also kinda cool. Vader's helmet emerging out of the cold smoke while Han is being frozen as Vader's epic theme plays in the background is really very cool. I liked how they used Han as a cliffhanger this time, so that people would be curious to what ultimately happened to Han and would therefore return to watch the next movie. I'm liking the original trilogy's use of cliffhanger, since it knows the balance of the cliffhangers. Not too frustrating, not too satisfying. A nice balanced cliffhanger. Okay, so now let's talk about the duel between Luke and Vader. It's an amazing step up from the pathetic duel in A New Hope, and also the best moment of this movie. This is the only fight in the original trilogy that I have rewatched as many times as I rewatched the prequels' lightsaber duels, because it truly is amazing. However, what's not amazing though is that the I am your father twist didn't surprise me, since I watched the prequels first. Maybe this movie could have been even better for me if I didn't spoil myself by watching the prequels first. Who knows? But that still doesn't make this fight any less awesome for me though, and I think that this is the most intense fight in the entire Star Wars saga. Yeah, even the prequel fights don't hold a candle to this intensity. Here, you are truly afraid for Luke, since he hasn't been properly trained and has walked into a trap to face someone vastly superior to him. And at every moment of this fight, the audience can realize that this will ultimately result in Luke's loss, which makes it a lot more intense. And yes, at the end, the audience's fear comes true and Luke ultimately loses. Vader is too powerful after all. I think the only fight that can come close to being this intense is Anakin vs. Obi-Wan in Episode 3. thanks to all the lava surrounding them. Yes, even though I prefer Yoda vs Palpatine over Anakin vs Obi-Wan because I think that is more awesome, I will have to accept that Anakin vs Obi-Wan was way more intense. Although I don't think it could have been that intense without that whole lava thing going on in that fight. The ending of this movie is truly spectacular, the perfect example of a good and well-balanced cliffhanger ending. It's not too frustrating but also not too satisfying since Luke ultimately lost. It just makes you curious about what happens next and doesn't frustrate you in any way like many cliffhangers do, which is really nice. The music is also pretty nice in the ending. Rating 10 out of 10. Best moment Luke vs Vader. Okay, so yeah guys, and that was it for the video, and don't forget to like, comment, share and of course subscribe. And so yeah guys, bye.